Hello Emma, my name's Nigel and I'm from Prism Consultancy and I'm here today to tell you a bit about a programme that Prism offer called the Improvement Experience and how it's going to be offered in a new exciting format in conjunction with Lydbury English Centre. It's about really a new way of thinking. It's called systems thinking, which in some ways has been around for an awful long time, but actually in organisations it's surprisingly how many few people actually use this. It's really a way of people thinking about what they do in their company, the customers and the services they offer to their customers, and the way they provide those services to their customers. And using the brains of the people who actually work in the company, engaging their minds and improving what they do. So not only working on the job that they do, but also improving the way they do that job. Too often in companies, people are told to park their brains at the door when they arrive at work. And we find that people get so much more excited when they're allowed to use their brains across the whole range of things that they do and constantly improving what they do for the customer. So that's really one way that the programme delivers improvement for people. The other item which is very often new to people who come on this programme is the way that numbers and data, performance data, is used. Too often in organisations, performance data is used to blame people and find out who to reprimand or who to tell off for things that go wrong, when actually that data could be used so much more productively to understand the capability of what you're doing and use that data as a signpost really for where improvement can be found, trialling and experimenting with new ways of work, and then seeing the results and evidencing the improvements. And it's in that evidencing improvement that people say, hey, I'm really satisfied with what you did there. It was a trial and it worked, and now we're going to roll it out across the company. And the 3-day programme really brings that alive for people actually in the room, and they can go away and engage their brains back at their own company. Now, the excitement of the attachment with Lydbury is that this programme can be combined with language skills training in a very, very powerful way, because people will engage not only in sort of conversation, but also in the general rough and tumble of organisational life. And if they're doing that in English as well, it means there's a pattern developing where they can learn business skills at the same time as improving their language.
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, so could you tell me a little bit more about how your programme is going to integrate with the programmes that the Lydbury English Centre offers?
Indeed, yes, I think it's going to integrate in a very powerful way. There's going to be some time at the front of the programme looking at language skills training, which will prepare people ready for engaging in the improvement experience element of the programme.
Right.
And during the actual improvement experience elements, there'll be an opportunity not only to engage with other delegates in language skills, but also the opportunity to engage with local English speakers from the local community or indeed local business, who will come along and allow people to extend and stretch their experience and their ability and capacity to talk with local people in the English language.
I can see that would be a very powerful tool to offer to people overseas. So okay, with the new the connection with Lydbury English Centre, do you find that most of your delegates who come on your programme, are they international or do they tend to be from England?
Over the years, the majority of our delegates have come from either the United Kingdom or English-speaking countries. But in recent years, more and more people are coming from Europe and other places across the world, and people for whom English is their second language, and they've been able to engage in the improvement experience very well indeed.
Oh, good. And how long, you said over the years, how long has your programme been running for?
Gosh,
how long has it been going?
It's been running for more than 20 years. In fact, I think I worked it out as 23 years.
Okay, it's a long time.
Indeed it is. And of course it's been improved itself.
And what size companies do you normally target? Is it targeted at a particular size?
Not really. It's very effective for large companies, multinationals indeed, but also it's been run for smaller organisations, for small and medium-sized enterprises, and in fact even for quite small companies. I think the smallest company I ran it for had 8 people in it.
Okay, so definitely, definitely across the board. And who do you target with your programme? What sort of level of management, or do you deal with every level of staffing in the company?
Potentially at every level, but actually it's most powerful in terms of its penetration into the organisation if it's middle and senior managers, really.
Okay, and you mentioned systems thinking earlier, and you did talk a little bit about it, but I haven't come across this phrase before.
Gosh, yes, it's really that all work can be regarded as a system. I know that sounds a little bit IT, but actually it's a transformation. If you're trying to provide something for your customer, you're giving them some sort of output. It might be a product or it might be a service. And the people in your organisation work together with various resources, information or materials to actually produce that output in a process. In order to run that process, they'll need inputs, which might be raw materials, or it might be various bits of information, or it might be getting the manpower together to deliver whatever services that you're providing. And with feedback, with systems, of course, an important element is feedback. So what do the customers think about the product and service that you're providing, and are you meeting their requirements is a key element of systems thinking. So it's about really improving the way the work works.
Right, and would you say, if I was to ask you what the three greatest advantages your programme gives to the businesses, would you say that was one of them, or would you give me a new?
Well, I think the key one for me is that people leave our improvement experience with the competence to actually engage in improvement of their organisation immediately, to identify where the most significant elements of improvement is required, and to get on with it, hit the ground running. But there's a second advantage which we find over the years people have told us, and that is it's not just the competence to do it, also the confidence and the enthusiasm. And that brings me to the third advantage, which is really the improvement experience is a vivid and compelling learning experience that really brings the whole subject matter to life. You say systems thinking, the danger is it sounds very dry and dull. Actually, when we do it in the training room, it's very exciting and very, very true to life.
Okay, and do you offer any follow-up after your courses, or is that the end of it? Do they do the training and go off, or do you find that you offer any follow-up services?
Indeed. Follow-up services is quite an important element of what we do. So people go away and start trying this stuff, and they might have questions to ask, or they might simply want to bounce ideas off people at Prism. And yes, that's what we do, either by email or perhaps by Skype, talking to people and saying, how are you doing, what questions do you have, and we'll try and help you as best we can during that follow-up 3-month period.
Okay, and that's the same both for Prism Consultancy and also for the Lydbury English Centre?
Indeed, yes.
Okay, lovely.